it rolling and talk a little bit about Houston right now, because this is something that I'm pissed off about, and you guys might want to stick with me for this. I grew up in Philadelphia. I've mentioned that. I lived in New York City for a while. I love big time bias, right? Whether it's West Coast, East Coast, whatever. I get, I can even like get hung up on the first take nonsense, like, talking about the Lakers every day. And sometimes I find that interesting. We talked to Anna Camden about Caitlin Clark. She's coming up in a little bit, but I'm so disappointed in the way that this Houston victory over Duke has been covered, and the lack of appreciation for Kelvin Sampson and who Houston is as a program. Like, people look at Duke, right, and they think that they're just a super important program. A lot of it is, they're in Raleigh, North Carolina, but there's obviously a huge like New York City connection. Whenever Duke goes to play at the Garden, it's sold out. Duke is like a national, worldwide institution, mostly because of its basketball team and Mike Krzyzewski, which is great. Good for them. But if I hear one more time how Duke choked away this victory, no. They got their asses kicked down the stretch by Houston and Kelvin Sampson. That's what happened. I, again, was so lucky to cover Houston the past few years. I've been to 2 practices, right, before games that I've covered for Houston or called for Houston. Those situations, right, like what you saw Houston do down the stretch, which was apply frenetic pressure into the face of a Duke squad who we think Duke is so smart and so polished. Those guys, they didn't know if they were on foot or horseback inbounding that basketball against that pressure late in the game. Even after JoJo Tugler reached over the end line and slapped James's hand, and they got a technical foul, they still, after that timeout, what Kelvin Sampson did, the decision to, after the timeout, after the free throws by Con Knipple, if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. He decided to play it out. We're going to play it out. We're not going to foul, right? We're going to get in your face and make you make mistakes and make you uncomfortable. It was clear that over the past 8-9 minutes that Houston had gotten to Duke, and they were anxious. They were not playing like themselves. That's not Duke choking. That is Houston doing what Houston does. Houston continues to come after you with the same veracity that they started the game with, they will end the game with. And when you look at a guy like Juwan Roberts, the winningest player in Houston basketball history, and we're not talking about some podunk school that hasn't had a lot of amazing players play for a long time. Hakeem Olajuwon comes to mind, right? Clyde Drexler comes to mind. And they had a lot of success with those teams. Juwan Roberts is an extension of Kelvin Sampson on the floor. So is Milos Uzan. I'm telling you, the way that Kelvin Sampson rides Milos Uzan in practice is like, whoa. It's time to clutch your pearls. Now, it's not because he doesn't like him. It's because pressure. What did your boy RG3 say? Pressure.
No pressure, no diamonds.
No pressure, no diamonds. If you watch the way that Houston practices, and you heard the same thing, by the way, about UConn basketball on the women's side, Gino runs practices, like a drill sergeant most of the time. And Kelvin Sampson does the same thing, right? And he's constantly trying to break those guys in the best way possible, right? Break you as a basketball player. See what you have left in the tank. And that was an unthinkable comeback. Earlier in the day, I don't know what I'm doing, all right? I know what I've experienced and seen, and I know who I've talked to. Sometimes I like to gamble. I bet on Houston to win the title, plus 35, 350 earlier in the day on Saturday. 5 minutes into that game, I was like, oof, this was a mistake. I was like, there's no way I'm winning. Houston's losing offensive rebounds to Duke. There was a lot of stuff that just didn't seem like this was going to be the type of game where Houston comes out victorious. Shame on me. Shame on me. Because what we saw was what we've seen all year long. By the way, and CBS is amazing. Iron Eagle's amazing. Like, don't think for 1 second this is shade on the CBS broadcast team. How did they not bring up the Kansas game all broadcast long? Like, Houston was dead, right, on life support at Allen Fieldhouse, and they forced overtime with seconds remaining right? By the way, Allen Fieldhouse, late January, when Kansas had it going, like hardest place to play in the world. And Duke and Kelvin Sampson's guys find a way to push that to overtime and find a way to come out of there with the win. By the way, if you've watched Houston all year long like I have, you know exactly when Malik shoots that shot, right? Malik Wilson shoots that 3-point shot from the corner. He misses, but I was like, this is just like Kansas. He's going to knock down that three. No, he missed it, but guess what? JoJo Tugler's right there to slam it home. I'm telling you, the will and to never give up that Houston has is special. And folks are talking about how Duke choked. That's great. No. Houston won that game. They stole it from them. They reached down deep into their soul and ripped it right out. Okay. And if you don't believe that, you are late to the party. So everybody's talking about, oh, Duke, oh, they choked 10 different ways. No. They were overwhelmed. Like Duke didn't blow it. Houston won it. And the best part about it is nobody around Houston that knows anything gives a shit because they're playing the title tonight. And that's all that matters. So leave this nonsense to people like me. I just want to remind everyone that Duke lost that game to a Houston team that beat them. Okay. Yeah, we can look on paper and say there's so many different ways that Duke blew the game. But again, like if John Shire was outcoached, that means that Kelvin Sampson outcoached him, right? Like Kelvin Sampson has been in games like this all his life. Kelvin Sampson has been to many a Final Four, 2 so far, and come away empty. He knows what it's like. He has those battle scars, as do his players. Cooper Flagg doesn't have those battle scars. And by the way, Cooper Flagg, God bless him, he's going to be an amazing pro. But like, that's one of those things where it's like, man, that's for the rest of his life, he'll be the guy that has missed that shot. Scotty, what do you got? Anything?